Okay, so we're back with Diamond Ranch Academy. We've gone through all of the personnel and the curriculum and the admissions and the regulations and their trouble with their lawsuits and the police and all of that stuff. So we're finally into some of what kids will actually experience when they get here, and there's going to be a few questions for people to perhaps answer in the comment section, information that we don't know, that we don't want to presume to understand. We want to get this right. We want to get real experiences from graduates and other people who attended. So if any of this is wrong, we want the record corrected, or if there's additional information to add to it, like maybe we're wrong on the nice side of things, maybe we're not telling enough. So either way, this part isn't based in like objective facts that we discovered when researching the institution itself. This is from testimonials from people who've been there. So people's experiences differ and vary. So I want to put out that little disclaimer that this is going to be us reading other people's experiences about their time at Diamond Ranch Academy. So when you enter the program, you begin in a stage called O&A, and we talked about that, observation and assessment. So in this phase, you cannot talk, sit, walk, make noise, spit, eat, stand up, etc., without permission. You must pass 14 full days and complete 14 assignments to get into the actual program. O&A is very difficult, and it's used also as punishment for students in the actual program, meaning that once you pass this phase, you can get bounced back to the O&A phase, or what was called homeless, again, and have to go through that whole thing over again for 2 weeks.
Right. And it sounds to me like this is a submissive stage. It's complete submission. Right off the bat, you're going to submit to this program, and you're going to ask for every movement of your body. You're going to ask permission.
Right, with everything.
Yeah.
So this first level is sometimes, or I guess once was, or still called homeless. And it's to keep a kid separated from the group and living outdoors for several days. You are with staff at all times, and if anyone tried to run, multiple staff would chase them down and, yes, physically restrain them. And this is something I'm learning, an experience from a former student. Then the student would be sent to O&A and be put on searches where they would have their shoelaces removed and have to be searched several times a day to make it harder to run away. It is likely that they would also be placed on night searches, where a student is woken up every half an hour at night to be searched by several staff members in the batch room. If another student knew of a plan to run or saw a kid run, they were encouraged to speak up and sometimes chase other students down to prevent them from running. They were rewarded for this behavior, and I spoke to a former student who explained that if you told a staff member that another kid was planning on running away, that you would be rewarded by the opportunity to be taken off campus, like to a mall or drive around town just to get out of the facility. But what happened was, because people started wanting to get out of there, a lot of the kids started lying about other kids planning on running away, so they stopped that. They stopped rewarding kids by taking them off campus, because people got hip to the idea that they could just tell on some other kid and make stuff up, and they would be, rewarded. So that doesn't sound very therapeutic either. And it's interesting that the idea that the reward would be to be taken off campus. If this place is so fabulous, like, why would that be a reward?
Well, also this is coercion. This is coercion. It's sort of it's asking kids to betray trust among their peers for the program in order to gain access to some normalcy. It's fucking bullshit.
Exactly. So in this former student's time there, she never saw this happen. Like, she never saw a kid run. But she had one staff who had graduated the program 2 years before, who explained this stuff to her. So that this person graduated and they became employed at the school.
I get the feeling that this is highly common because I get the feeling that they have a post-recruitment program for graduates where you're supposed to come back. In fact, you're meant to come back. Yeah, you're meant to come back to the program.
And
as part of the program.
It might be, I can see why that might be like the most logical choice because, as we've gone through the way this place operates, people who graduate are in no way prepared to go back out into society. So it might be the easier choice to stay there.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's no locking or fencing systems. It wasn't really necessary since there was always staff around, and even if you did manage to escape, Diamond Ranch is located in the middle of the desert, and by the time you reach the nearest town, the local police would have been already looking for you. Because they know where they're going to go. They're going to go straight to Hurricane, which is a really small town, and they're all in cahoots anyway because so much money comes into DRA that gets funneled back into the town. Like, it's their jewel, like, out in the desert. Like, that really is probably one of the only things that keeps that city going.
Correct.
So, here's some questions. Because so far we've tried to stay away from what we have been doing, which I think is important, getting survivor stories, which we want to continue to do, but maybe in a slightly different way with more questions asked and answered. Like, for instance, were you supposed to be utterly passive and still until you received permission to do anything? How oppressive and extreme was your passivity expected to be? Like, I mean, are you supposed to like be like a blob until what? For example, did you have to get permission for every step if you wanted to move, or each separate destination? Like, for instance, if you wanted to get up and stretch and walk around aimlessly to get rid of tension, could you get permission for that and do it as long as you needed to? Could you get permission just to get up and be able to walk around? Or would you have to get like explicit permission to walk from here to there?
I think it would be, I think that would be more the case where it would be choosing for destination, right? Okay, so, may I get up and then go to this side of the room?
Here's a good question. Would you be restrained if you moved defiantly after being told not to? So you say, hey, can I get up and go to the bathroom? And they say no, and you get up anyway. Would you then be restrained? Which is not punishment, by the way, according to Diamond Ranch, because they don't believe in punishment.
Right.
Good to remember. So what were the 14 O&A assignments? That's not exactly clear what those 14 assignments are for the 14 days. Again, if you knew a plan for a student to run away, our understanding is that they were encouraged to speak up and also sometimes chase other students down. And what were the rewards for that behavior? If people could name some of the rewards they would receive, other than being off campus, perhaps, did it include progressing through program levels faster? What were the searches like? How invasive were they? Was there a time limit to how long this would continue? Or, you know, the night searches, the every half an hour kind of thing, like how long would that go on before they were finally satisfied that you had been abused enough so they would like stop?
Right.
How invasive are the searches? How were the physical restraints conducted? We want to know that. Like specifically, were you tied down? Were you just sat on? You know, that kind of stuff. It's important to know because a lot of this information, again, like it just doesn't get out there. And you know, our audience really is parents considering this. You know, you really owe it to yourselves and your kids to understand what really goes on. What would or could they do to you if you passively refuse to do anything? Like if you just said, I'm not listening whatsoever, I mean, would they force feed you? Or is there threatening to be force fed? And we just want to know all the, you know, a list of potential punishments that people can think of or went through themselves. And this can be anonymous, you know, in the comment section. We don't want to try to tell stories that people don't want to be told, you know, with names and things like that. So anonymity is always honored. And then finally, and this is really going to be kind of the end of the Diamond Ranch Academy investigation, we have some reviews. These are reviews that I picked up just various places off the internet. Some are actually positive, but we want to make sure that we look at these positive reviews through a particular light based on what we already know. Some are quite negative. So this is an employee review. It says, unless you are corrupt, don't work here. The owners have no clinical background. They hire family and friends, so unless you're in with them, you'll never last. The clients are treated horribly. Staff are treated bad and then take it out on each other and the clients. There is no therapy here, and it's very sexist. Another, do not send your kids here. The facility is not licensed to treat children, and there have been multiple reports of child abuse from clients and staff. Please fully research the CEO and company history. This is a fraudulent treatment center and will only further scar anyone who is unfortunate to become involved. Do not send your kid there. If I could, I would put negative stars. You probably think this place looks good and has a lot of privileges. I promise you, you will regret your decision by sending your kid here. Almost all the kids that are entered into the school are pulled out by their parents. That'd be interesting to learn if that's the case.
Yeah.
Kids got bullied and the staff would not do anything. Please listen to someone that has gone to the school and not to a guy trying to sell you something. Don't send your kid here. It is hell. I was here for 2 months, and they did not help me whatsoever. Kids got bullied there, and the staff did nothing. I've had 5 or 6 therapy sessions during my whole stay. And I guess that makes sense if you're going once a week. week.
Yeah.
The therapy sessions, though, were just phone calls with my parents. Oh, please don't send your kid here if they need a treatment program. Send them to a different place that I'm not going to mention. And this person says this other program is a great program. It might be something to look into. I'm not going to mention the name of the other program because I'm not going to say it's good. So, but this person said send your kid somewhere else, and not here though. So,
right.
We did a tour of Diamond Ranch Academy in September. We have to say that this was one of the most unique treatment centers we have ever visited. It feels like a university. It is far from what we had imagined a teen treatment center to be. We were very impressed with the amount of space and activities that the kids have available to them, and the education of the staff as well as the amount of staff they have. The football field is amazing. So that was one of the positive reviews. But when you really look at that review, they were impressed with the campus because it's big, it's clean, it looks like a university, it's a great football field.
Right.
But they took a tour, and they said they were impressed with the amount of space and activities that the kids have available to them. Well, I'm sure they saw the same information that we did, all these great activities, and the education of the staff as well as the amount of staff they have. Well, we know about the education of the staff, and it's really lacking. So
yes,
you want to look at that with a little bit of a wary eye, because the most amazing thing about this review is the football field, which I've seen, and it's pretty great. Okay, this place is absolutely horrible. The program is driven towards making Rob Diaz lots of money. I was there in 2005 to 2006, and it did no good for me. I had a 3.0 GPA and was on track to graduate. After DRA, I had a higher GPA, but was behind in my school. That's what we were talking about. So this kid comes in. He's got a B average. I don't know what he went in there for. We don't know. But he says he had a 3.0, which is fine. And then he went to DRA and had a higher GPA, but fell behind in school because, as we said, it's not real. It's not a real school.
No.
They put 7th through 12th graders in the same classes, and the teachers just hand out packets. That's how they do it. They just jam all the kids together because they don't have enough real teaching staff to teach people.
Right.
So they put all the kids in one classroom and then hand out packets. Right.
Right. I mean, this is very common. This is the way it usually is in most of these places.
Gotcha. Yeah, so far nothing out of the ordinary.
No.
And then it goes on to say Rob Diaz Jr., who we didn't see on the list of staff, Robbie, but he may, perhaps she's still there. I don't know. But this was in 2005, 2006. So it says Rob Diaz Jr., the son of the owner, seemed to like to restrain kids too much. It includes bending their arms the wrong way and making it difficult to breathe. All a waste of my parents' money and left me behind. Thanks, DRA. Another one. I went to this school for 2 months, from the 19th of September to the 6th of November. To all the parents, please tell your children before you ship them off to Utah. I felt like I was going to die there from withdrawals. In general, I learned a lot and helped in ways, but I hated every single moment of it. Till the day I walked out, bad experience with this place. It's kind of a mixed one there.
Yeah.
Sounds like this kid's parents came to get him after 2 months of hell.
Yeah.
In general, I learned a lot. But it was a bad experience. So I don't know if I don't know if I consider that an endorsement.
No.
Okay. This summer, our son graduated from Diamond Ranch Academy, has earned his Boy Scouts of America Eagle Scout rank, was named to the Utah State High School Basketball All-State Honorable Mention Squad, and will be starting college with a baseball scholarship. All of these seem like lost dreams 2 years ago. Well, that really doesn't say anything about the school itself. It just says that their kid is a Boy Scout and is good at baseball. You think that a positive review would really say more about the school itself, but they don't. And there's a reason. No. We often talk about survivors doing well in spite of their trauma, not because of it. The overcoming of the abuse, not that the abuse was beneficial. Because if you look at it like that, and say, oh, these people are like had to be even stronger than they would have had to been otherwise, because additionally from just the regular stresses of the world, they had to overcome all this stuff too. So I think that's way more often the case than the program made them better or taught them anything. It's just another step back that they had to overcome to actually, make it.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Due to injury and lack of faith in himself, our son was going downhill fast 2 years ago. He wasn't into drugs or alcohol, but was giving up on himself and his dreams. We struggled with what to do, and first enrolled him in a well-known military school. That helped marginally, at best, for a little while, but then he just plain refused to do any classes, training, etc. We looked at Diamond Ranch when we made the decision to send him to military school and decided Diamond Ranch was too expensive. Looking back, Diamond Ranch Academy was worth every dime. We called Diamond Ranch, explained the situation our family was in, and they welcomed us with open arms. Our son thought DRA was incredible, especially compared to military school, and thought there were rough patches. And though there were rough patches, he started to take responsibility for himself and his studies. Through the counseling, athletics, and academics, he found success and learned much about himself and our family. The counselors were very patient and are very good at seeing the diamond in the rough. They are supportive yet firm. The staff helped him on his journey as a Boy Scout when he decided he wanted to pursue the rank of Eagle Scout. His love for baseball was rekindled. CM ended up in the state tournament. His academics soared his sophomore year. Before DRA, he had a 1.86 GPA. His junior year, he had a 3.23. His senior year was 3.59. He applied to college, earned a baseball scholarship. I wonder if this is the same kid who had none of this would ever happen without the dogged determination of the staff at Diamond Ranch Academy. They refused to let him give up on himself. Our daughter, 5 years younger, even said she would like to go there if it wasn't so far from home. This, it sounds good, kind of like, but again, there's a whole bunch missing. Like, it's just, this story could have been told by any kid going through any rough time, and then suddenly they weren't.
Right.
Or they grew up.
And it's very blanket as well. It's very sort of exactly what it's surfaced, and it's probably exactly what they heard from the program while their kid was in there. Yeah,
and then the last line of this review was very strange. It says, Diamond Ranch Academy gave us our son back and gave our son his family and dreams back. What? Yeah.
I also want to make you aware that these programs use Google SEO bots. So a lot
Yes.
of these reviews that are positive might actually be robots and formatted reviews that aren't actually real reviews. We don't know.
Right, or they're written, or they're ghostwritten by staff, or
Yeah.
sure. And some of the grammatical issues, like, lead me to believe that they are, some of these are bot generated because no one writes like that. Like, they gave us our son back and gave our son his family back. Well, you are his family. Like, they didn't give you back to your son. That doesn't make any sense. Like,
no. And
no,
you kind of
no one
took
gave
him
anybody
away
anything.
from you. You kind of took him away.
They gave him back.
You know,
they're like,
yeah.
they're like happy that, hey, they give him back. Or like, but,
hey, thanks for my son back.
Hey, thanks for you. And let's see, we've got two more here, I think. Okay. My wife and I have our 16-year-old son at the program now. We have seen a huge change in Alex the past 4 months. He's been at DRA. I don't think any program is perfect. DRA has helped us get our son back on track. As we all know, there is no blueprint for parenting. He is finally seeing what caused us to send him to DRA. The program has helped in a huge way. These people sound like they're messed up.
Yeah. That
little statement just like, it sounds like they just gave up on their kid. And maybe the program has probably helped these people, his wife and him, in a huge way by letting DRA parent their kids so they don't have to worry about it. That's what it sounds like to me. Yes. There's no blueprint for parenting. Well, there is actually a blueprint for parenting. Sure there is. I would disagree with that all day long. There are actually methods of parenting that work, and shipping your kid off to a really horrible boarding school is not the blueprint for parenting.
No.
And finally, excuse me, editing. I was having a lot of problems with my 14-year-old daughter, and I brought her to Diamond Ranch Academy. We initially looked up reviews online, and we were concerned about a lot of bad reviews we saw, but we still decided to go for a visit. When we got there, we met the staff, and our fears quickly disappeared. The staff is very professional, thoughtful, and patient in listening to our problems and issues we're having at home. Here's the best part. Our daughter opened up and started admitting that she had a problem with her behavior within 30 minutes of speaking with DRA counselors. I would highly recommend DRA as a solution to your troubled youth. I think it is an excellent program and fully recommend it. What it sounds like to me they could have done was gone on the tour, spent that 30 minutes where the daughter started admitting her problems and issues with the counselor, and then they should have left, all of them, and continued the conversation. You know? Like,
yep.
Because, okay, so if Diamond Ranch is such a great place to go, that they can start, quote, treating your kid within the first 30 minutes of talking to an unqualified, quote, counselor, then that's all you need to do. You just need to look at the website and go, hey, look at this place, and hey, daughter, come here, check out this website with me. Look at this great place. We're not going to send you there. Instead, let's talk about the issues that you seem to be having, and then like close the browser and say thanks, Diamond Ranch Academy.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion, and in how to fully get the most out of Diamond Ranch Academy. Listen to the podcast, and then close your browser, and then say, thanks V2V podcast. We won't send our kid there or anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, I think also it's really important to understand that your child is not necessarily troubled, and that really the reality of this is maybe the environment or possibly the home is troubled. And by that I'm not trying to direct my assertion to the parents, but you have to understand that your child will be returning to the same environment, and the environment will not be treated by Diamond Ranch Academy. It's just really important that you look at that. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And this reminds me of, this also reminds me of the interview that I did with the psychologist, Dr. Kevin Fall, who had what anybody would agree to be a troubled teen, but the difference is that he realized that he was a troubled parent.
Yeah.
And took responsibility for that and reached out to his son, who took some time to reach back, but did. And then they wrote a book about it. And they were like, thanks, Dad. Thanks, son. Like, they came through this stuff together, because of course there are issues in family life. That's what family is. Like, it's a learning and growing thing. And, you know, we don't get to pick our parents or children. They're autonomous people who exist in the world that we may not necessarily even like very much. But to give up and to, just because you have the money and to abandon the responsibilities, and knowing what you said, that even if you did send your kid there, when they come back, the environment that they left isn't going to change. Like, they're going to come back to the same problems and environment that they left, and primarily because of you, the parent. You know, the parent in most cases is the one who needs to change, not the kid.
Yeah.
They're still learning how to be a person. And it's your job as a parent to teach to the best of your ability how to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's it. That's the big lesson for Diamond Ranch Academy, and we're gonna, start doing more of these and look at different places and do our best to spread the word about absolutely not sending your kid to these therapeutic boarding schools or wilderness camps or whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming along with us on this 10-part journey of Diamond Ranch Academy. This is the V2V Podcast Survivor Series with Marcus Parrish and Alexei Lindes. And please stay tuned for our next investigation of Sunset Bay Academy, coming soon. Thank you so much.